Hey everybody, Tanya here. Welcome to another edition. Today I'm going to be working on this Ikea style vanity for a really special young lady, my friend's granddaughter Callie. And first what I'm going to do is get her cleaned up, and I need to come in and do some light sanding. It does have a smooth surface, so I'm going to need to rough it up just a little bit for it to hold the primer and the paint. And I have a few ideas of how I want this to look, but sometimes it's just a mystery of what it's going to turn out like. So keep watching to find out. This primer you will not see going on. It actually is a clear coat primer. And after I get that covered, I will take a light sanding sponge and just go over it just slightly. Next, I continue this same process onto the drawers. Now that my primer is dried, I'm going in with a metallic black paint to get this thing rolling. Again, I go back over the paint with a light sanding in between coats. On the border here, you can see that I'm going in with some white metallic paint to contrast the black metallic. It takes a couple of coats to cover up those edges that I had sanded, but after that, I have this rose gold. Again, everything's metallic, and I decided on the black, white, and the rose gold for some nice contrast. Actually, it was your grandma who wanted the rose gold because she knows how much you love it. I had this cardstock in my supplies, and I wanted a backdrop for this sticker stencil. So in order to make it stand out, I wanted the white background. So I just stick it on there and cut around the edges so that it all is the same shape. Next, I go back to the cardstock and pull out some different patterns. Each page has a different pattern on it, so I wanted to have some variety. Take some Mod Podge here in the top of these little cubicle areas, and I just cover the space with Mod Podge. I had cut these into strips, and I'm just laying them in there in a patterned way, and after I'm done getting them inside, I will go over with another coat of Mod Podge on the top, and then I will come back and sand those edges after everything is completely dry. I will sand them down so that they are flush with the top edge. So this next part is actually really fun. I'm taking some casting resin, pouring equal parts in, then I give it a mix. You gotta mix it really well. And you have to work quick with this because you dump it into your molds, and within about 5 to 10 minutes, it hardens right before your eyes. So I kind of sped up the video here so you could see, but it does harden pretty quickly, and then you can just take them out of the molds and do what you're gonna do with them. After they're out of the mold, I'm going to give them a sanding on the back so they're nice and smooth. I'm going to add some white paint and then a touch of gold. Now I want to get some detail going on the side of the vanity here, so I'm using painter's tape to create some stripes. I'm going to add some white stripes on these sides. This next part is actually quite satisfying. After this is completely dried, I will be removing the strips of tape to reveal the new stripes that I made. I'm going to be gluing down the sticker stencil that I made earlier, as well as adding some daisy details here and there. I'm told that's your favorite flower. And I'll be creating some stripes on the front of some of these drawers as well. I'm going to be lining these drawers with a variety of papers with a Highland cow motif. So I'm going in with a layer of Mod Podge, then I just add my papers and I go over with another layer of Mod Podge and let it all dry. Once it's all dry, I go along the edges with a bit of sandpaper just to knock it all down and make it nice and flush. Now it's time to work on the chair. This particular cushion has a pink fabric. However, we wanted to make it a white fabric, so instead of removing the pink fabric, I'm just going to be placing this white fluffy fabric over top of it, and then we will work on the frame. So your grandma wanted it to be more of a gold, rose gold, instead of this gold that came with the chair. So I'm going to be adding some adhesive and doing some rose gold gold leafing in order to change the color up a little bit more to match the vanity. I decided to experiment with some spray adhesive. Normally you have some paste that you brush on, you let it dry, and while it's still sticky, you do put your gold leaf on top of that. Halfway through this process, I realized that the spray adhesive just wasn't working. Again, it was just an experiment to see if it would work. So at this point, I've switched back to the brush and paste, and things do stick a lot better with that method. And here I'm adding some gold rhinestones for a little extra bling. And remember those daisies I made earlier? It's time to glue those on. I'm using a paint marker to clean up this daisy stencil on the drawers, and I'm going in with some shellac spray on the gold leaf that I did on the chair back. Here I'm just adding some pretty details, and I'll be applying the letters for her name. The letters were made with resin molds, and then I painted them and added some beads for detail. And as we enter the home stretch here, I've taped up along the border, adding some resin. I'm going to have it just drip off the edges until it gets a little bit more firm, and then I'll remove that tape and just kind of touch up the edges. Here I'm using my butane torch to pop some of those bubbles. And I'm going over the entire vanity with a top coat to make sure everything is sealed. And the final step of adding the hardware back on. Callie, I had so much fun making this for you, and I hope you really love it. I know you love Highland cows, I know you love daisies, and I just really hope that you get to enjoy this vanity for years to come.